Assalamualaikum and very good evening to everyone, which is Miss and to my colleagues. So basically for today, I will presenting about mini research, conceptual paper and general summary. So I would like to introduce myself first, which is my name is Muhammad Irfan bin Rosli. So let's start our slide. So basically for the first article, which is a personal value of international entrepreneur intention, which is the first one is the introduction. So introduction, which is in this research paper, which is international entrepreneurship is innovation, proactive and risk-seeking behavior across border one shot liver. International entrepreneurship has connection with behavior, personal traits, and extensively implement for predicting the formers. The study investigated the authenticity of born global entrepreneurship have yet to holistically outline the behavior ingredient that leads to the international entrepreneurships. So for the theoretical development, there on the right side we have the conceptual framework, which is we have self-transcendence, openness to change, conservation, self-enchantment, international entrepreneur intention, and also the moderator, which is gender and ethnicities. So for the hypothesis development, we have six hypotheses, which is the self-transcendent and international entrepreneur intention are positive associates. Openness to change and international entrepreneur intention are positive associates. Self-enchantment and international entrepreneur intention are positively associates. Conservation and international entrepreneurship intention are negatively associates. The influence of personal values of international entrepreneur intention is moderate by genders. The influence of personal value of international entrepreneurship intention is moderately ethnicity. So we're moving on to the methodology of this research paper, which is the first methodology is the research paper gather the data from all major universities in Mauritius and two additional private universities. The data collection was an online Google survey forms, and the sampling technique is the non-probability technique, and the measurement is portrait value questionnaire, which is PVQ, and also the sample size of this research is 504. So as for the result and discussion of this paper, which is a personal value of international entrepreneurship intention, we see the result is the self-adjustment and openness to change significantly improve individual international entrepreneurship intentions. And also for the conservation held a significant negative influence and self-transition has no impact at all. The overall influence of gender in the relationship between personal value and international entrepreneur intention findings as males with a higher openness to change are more likely to develop international entrepreneurship intentions rather than females. The explanation, the influence of ethnicity, the result implement that the impact of openness to change and self-adjustment of international entrepreneur intentions was higher for individuals of mixed ethnicities compared to those who has only one single ethnic background. So for the conclusions, in the conclusion, this study has been shown that individual personal values play a key role in driving their international entrepreneurship behavior. Exactly, the intention to set up international venture is driven by openness to change and self-adjustment, whereas conservation is found do not impact or hold negative influence. As for the self-adjustment, the trivial effects demonstrate warrants further research as there could be proximal connectivity process influenced by the factor. So that's all for article number 1. We're moving on to the article number 2, which is the exploring tendency of entrepreneur intention among females in an emerging country. So first of all, the introduction is the involvement of entrepreneurships of job creations, economic prosperity, recovery, and societal progress. Social empowerment and innovation have been significantly recognized across the world. It is widely believed that female entrepreneurship play a significant role in the overall development of a nation, making it is important to investigate the cause of female entrepreneurs' intention to start a business. So for the theoretical developments, we have four hypotheses, which is the first hypothesis is there is significant relationship between the demographic profile of female individuals with or without entrepreneurship intentions. For the second hypothesis, which is favorable entrepreneur attitude is positive related to the entrepreneurial intention among females. And also for the hypothesis number three, an entrepreneurial favorable subjective norms is positively related to the entrepreneurial intention among females. And also for the last hypothesis, which is the fourth hypothesis, which is the higher the PBC with respect of entrepreneurship has a positive implication for the entrepreneurial intention among women. So as you can see, there as a conceptual frameworks, which is all the all the IV is pointed at the DV, which is the DV is the entrepreneurial intention among females, and the IV is attitude toward entrepreneurship, subjective norm toward the entrepreneurship, perceptive behavior towards the entrepreneurship, and also we have a demographic profile. So for the next one is actually this is a methodology. So for the methodology, adult population survey APS is conducted by the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, which is in the short form is we call GEM. For the sample size is 1,683 females responded of in India. The unique survey has been used to collect the data for the survey, which is it is focusing on the level and the nature of entrepreneur endeavors. So for the result and discussion, the hypothesis H1, which assume that there is a significant relationship between demographic profiles of the female individual intention is accepted. And on the next hypothesis, the three other hypotheses, which is the hypothesis to test the three incident of entrepreneurship intention, which is the H2, H3, and H4. The result of this, the regression analysis indicate that there are a positive and significant effects among effects of attitude toward the behavior, subjective norm, and to the entrepreneur intention among females. So moving on to the conclusion. For this article conclusion, the contribution of entrepreneurship to job creation, economic prosperity, recovery and social progress, social empowerment and innovation has been significantly recognized across the globe. The importance of promoting female entrepreneurs is widely recognized in strengthening the overall development of the country. However, female innovation in entrepreneurial activity is significantly low compared to males in most developed economies, including in India. The results showed positive and significant effects of the attitude toward the entrepreneurship, subjective norm, and PBC to the entrepreneurship intention among females. So for the article 3, which is the title is what are affect the import entrepreneurship of SME. So for the introduction, which is the entrepreneurship facilitate the discovery and exploitation of opportunity that lies outside a firm domestic market. Export provide a high degree of flexibility, enhance the organization service standards and the quality of technology utilized. The literature on the international entrepreneurship underline that SME internationalization is affected by the entrepreneur's uniqueness. So for the next part is the theoretical development. So for the theoretical development, we have positive. Currently we have 6 IV, which is entrepreneur age, entrepreneur education, entrepreneur experience, entrepreneur skill, technological innovation, social ties, which is pointed at the DV, which is the export entrepreneurships. So for the hypothesis development, we have 6 hypotheses since we have 6 IV. So the hypothesis is the entrepreneur age negatively affect the import entrepreneurship of SME. Entrepreneur technical education compared to business education has a positive influence on export entrepreneurships. Entrepreneur industry specific experience compared to managerial experience has a positive influence on export entrepreneurships. Entrepreneur skills positively affect the entrepreneurship exports of SME. And social tie have a positive influence on entrepreneurship's export of SME, and technology innovation has a positive influence on the entrepreneurship's exports of SME. So moving on to the methodology. So for the methodology of this third article is the researcher decided to confine their study to Karnataka states, which is in India. The research study was conducted in the engineering industry, and the sample size is 102 SMEs. The way they are conducting the research is by visiting the firms and having a personal interview with the entrepreneur or the senior manager of the SMEs. And it is in the data that gathered is analyzed by using SPSS 21.0 statistical package. So as for the result and discussions, entrepreneurship who are young have achieved a better performance than the older entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs' education qualification result reveal that either technical or business education was not significant in influencing export entrepreneurship. Entrepreneur experience, particularly industry-specific experience, has a positive significance. Entrepreneur foreign language knowns was a negative, but was not significantly in explaining the impact of export entrepreneurships. Technological innovation was also not statistically significant in explaining the export entrepreneurships. Entrepreneur social tie was a positive and significantly influence of the export entrepreneurship of SME. So to conclude this article, certain practical and policy implication can be drawn based on the result of the studies. Firstly, the policy initiative should aim at leveraging the decision-making capability, as our result reveal the role of younger entrepreneurship on export entrepreneurships. The effect of entrepreneurship age on export entrepreneurship suggests that a policymaker should focus on improving the skill and the capabilities of younger entrepreneurship through the training and enhancing their knowledge by offering short-term course on export management to the younger entrepreneurs. Secondly, the result of this study also point the importance of industry-specific experience is a prerequisite of an entrepreneur's firms to achieve a better performance. Further, firm with entrepreneurs who does not have industry-specific experience can hire an individual with a specific industry experience to initiate export and to improve performance in the export market. As for the last one, which is the third one, importance of having social ties has been positive influence on the export entrepreneurships. So that's all for the article 3. We moving on to the article 4, which is the title is International Business Opportunity Recognitions and Developments. So for the introduction is international entrepreneurships provide a unique setting in which entrepreneurs and firms respond to cross-border variation in resource and market by creating a value. An international business opportunity can be defined as a discovered, created, or co-created situation in which action and interaction of individual, organization, and environment transform in the manifestations of economic activity for a value creations, including financial, social, and environmental. So for the next one is we have a theoretical background. This is a theoretical background, which is we have 3 IVs and moderator or mediators, and also we have the IV, which is the international business opportunities. So for the hypothesis development, in this article, it only has 3 hypotheses, which is the first hypothesis is social network and international business opportunity recognition and developments. H2, international experience and IBO recognition and developments. Proactive mindset and IBO recognition and developments. So for the methodology, this researcher conduct a survey of SME manager that are located in one southwestern state in the United States. So the sample size for the IB International Business Opportunity Development and Combined Model is 82, while the sample size of the International Business Opportunity Recognition is 92. So the three hypotheses is analyzed by three models with dependent variable that represented one, the recognition of IBOs, and two is the development of the IBOs, and three is combined recognition of the development of international business opportunity. The questionnaire item measured on 5-point scale, which is from strongly disagree to strongly agree. As for the result and discussion in this article, which is it can be concluded which is the social network element that matters significant include total network size is positively related to the international business opportunity recognitions. And also the range of foreign located ties significant for the international business opportunity recognition as for the IBO development and the joint models. The range of ties to the domestic entity with international presence significant for the international business opportunity recognition and joint model. And also, these three results suggest that the ties most directly related to the international market will be most value to the manager in recognizing and developing the business opportunity. To conclude this article, which is the conclusions, understanding why some recognition and pursue entrepreneurial opportunities from international market, while others do not will contribute to this broader understanding of this interaction between entrepreneurial process and the environment context. The findings of this article is from this research can be leveraged into studying opportunity recognition and development in alternating context with alternative resource of environment uncertainty, such as disruptive technologies, industry convergence, or the images of the COVID pandemics. So that's all from me. Thank you for your time.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Faris Akmal Nizam bin Azdi, and today I'll be presenting about my mini research for seminar subject. So for the first article is factors affecting international finance cooperation. So, okay, disclosure in accounting is extremely significant to all stakeholders. It brings them the knowledge they need to resolve confusion and helps them to make intelligent financial and economic decisions, according to Dreher et al. 2019. In order to succeed in business, the key is to understand how different processes, practices, rules, regulations, and institutions affect the way the firm is directed, administered, or controlled. According to Hamid and Anwar 2018, despite the fact that financial inclusion policies and actions have not historically had a long history, a list of microeconomic and macroeconomic effects in support of the hypothesis that growth in inclusive financial systems is an important component of development progress has been compiled by empirical research. So, for the theoretical development, the first hypothesis is legal factor has significant influence on international finance cooperation. The second hypothesis is environmental factor has significant influence on international finance cooperation. The third hypothesis will be political factor has significant influence on international finance cooperation. The fourth hypothesis is social factor has significant influence on international finance cooperation. The fifth hypothesis is technical factor has significant influence on international finance cooperation. And hypothesis 6 is economic factor has significant influence on international finance cooperation. So this is the theoretical framework for the first article. So for the methodology, the study was carried out in small and medium businesses in Erbil. The researchers used 6 factors, for instance, legal factor, environmental factor, political factor, social factor, technical factor, and economic factor to measure influencing international finance. The method that being used was quantitative research. A number of 130 administrative staffs of small and medium businesses uh, was contributed to this study, and from 130, only 124 participants from different small and medium businesses in Kurdistan region of Iraq that were contributed in this study. So for the result and the discussion, the value of beta was 0.606 with significant level of 0.000. This indicated that the first research hypothesis was supported. Same goes to the second hypothesis, whereby the value of beta was 0.669 with significant level of 0.000. The third hypothesis was supported because the value of beta was 0.601 with significant level of 0.002. The fourth hypothesis also supported because the value of beta was 0.642 with significant level of 0.000. The value of beta was 0.642 with significant level of 0.001. This indicated that the fifth research hypothesis was supported. And the last hypothesis was supported also because the value of beta was 0.637 with significant level of 0.000. So for the conclusion, as the years go, this concept is becoming more relevant due to the advent of technology and globalization. The smaller firms have the biggest challenges since global, massive firms are competing for a share of the market. Many different elements such as currency exchange rates, inflation rates, and the existence of various cultures and languages determine how profitable international finance can be for companies. So for the second article, the title for the second article is Culture and International Business, a Review and the Research Agenda. So, international business research focuses on the key decisions taken by firms while expanding their operations outside national boundaries. According to Kurt and Kurt 2019, Singh, Chauhan and Deal 2019, Paul and Mas 2019. Research focus on these various contexts considers international business as a study of distances and their impact on the global marketplace. Despite the obvious impact of cultural distance and national culture on decisions related to internationalization, there have been few studies reviewing the extant literature about this important focus. According to Paul and Rosado Serrano 2019, Rosado Serrano, Paul and Dicova 2018, and also Singh and Deal 2019, this investigation aimed to address the limitations of prior methodologies used to evaluate the transnational business literature from 2009 to 2019 by performing a systematic review using a theory development, context, characteristics, and methodology (TCCM) framework. So for the theoretical framework, the first hypothesis will be national culture will have a positive impact on firm performance and other internationalization outcomes in different institutional contexts. The second hypothesis will be low external uncertainty avoidance will have a positive effect on firm performance and other internationalization outcomes. The third hypothesis will be entrepreneurial mindset will have a positive effect on firm performance and other international outcomes. And the fourth hypothesis will be interactions will have a positive effect on firm performance and other internationalization outcomes. So this is the theoretical framework for the second article. Okay, as for the methodology, the study was performed following the widely accepted guidelines and methodology found in the peer-reviewed literature. Various methods such as meta-analysis can be used for well-established domains with a high degree of agreement on the measurements and statistical techniques, but are less suitable for conducting a general review of domains. The researchers followed the systematic literature review technique based on the TCCM framework to provide a holistic view of the research. So as for the result and discussion, the researchers discussed potential research opportunities in the international business domain in the form of propositions which can inspire future researchers. The research provides opportunities for theory extension, development, and testing in the areas of culture and international business, including external uncertainty avoidance, national culture, knowledge transfer and collaboration, HR and management practices, international diversification, entrepreneurial mindset, interaction, and performance. So for the conclusion, the paper presents a comprehensive assessment of the current status of cultural research in international business through a structured literature review of 118 key articles published from 2009 to 2019. The analysis identified knowledge gaps and important areas for future research on the relationship between culture and international business. The paper also discussed prominent theories, their characteristics in various contexts, and ways they can be successfully used in culture research. These studies also provide a comprehensive review of recent trends in international business and culture by classifying the extant literature according to theory, context, characteristics, and methodology. So, move on to the article 3. The title of the article is The Role of Automobile Sector in Global Business, Case of Pakistan. So, vehicle manufacturing is amid the limited manufacturing which has attracted native and extraneous funds to level the assets macroclimate in the country has not been congenial. This study is aimed to find out the growth of the automobile sector of Pakistan. The scope of the study is to know the reason why the automobile sector of Pakistan has fallen into bad shape and has reduced the industry's growth. As for the theoretical development, for the first hypothesis, increased local production gives positive growth to the automobile sector. The second hypothesis will be relaxation in government policies, encourage new business and growth in the existing automobile market. The third hypothesis will be technology advancements increases the business of local manufacturers. And the fourth hypothesis will be lower duties give positive growth in the automobile. So this is the theoretical framework for the third article. As for the methodology, a questionnaire survey was conducted through email. The sample for this study comprises automobile consumers in Pakistan. Primary data was conducted through a survey consisting of 90 questions that were distributed through email. The 110 questionnaires were distributed through emails and wherein a sample of 98 questionnaires was available. 5 facts comparable measures surplus 5 signify powerful, come to an understanding, and 1 exemplifies disagree 2 strongly out of 100. Amongst the respondents, 63 were male and 35 were female. And the study for this article is a quantitative study. So as for the result and discussion, the researchers check the response of the people on Smart PLS, and they find that the PLS algorithm method, the effects of management styles are 0.278 on automobile growth. The effects of duties are 0.294 on automobile growth, and the effect of government policy is 0.177 on automobile growth. The effect of production is 0.152 on automobile growth, and the effect of technology is 0.150. The bootstrapping calculation also shows that these IBS management styles, fringe benefits, promotional opportunities have a positive impacts on all have a positive impact on automobile growth. For the conclusion, the global economic crisis in 2008 impacted substantially along with the major market crash. The main automobile manufacturing countries while making the automobile industry the most serious hit together with the financial sector. The leading car manufacturing countries have been forced to take over the market through rescue measures and subsidies for both producers and consumers to an unrivaled extent in order to maintain a stable employment level and increase industrial capacity. So move on to the last article, which is determinant factors of young people in preparing for entrepreneurships. Lesson from Indonesia. So entrepreneurship plays a pivotal role in facilitating the enhancements of a country. The crucial role of entrepreneurship has gained attention among policymakers and scholars throughout the world. According to Corner 2013 and Lord Kipanidze 2005, the primary objective of these studies aims to promote the potential advantages of youth entrepreneurs as a viable career choice to examine challenges that stand in the way and policy steps and strategies. This study attempts to understand what factors affect young people to become entrepreneurs, focusing on the need for achievement, risk perception, locus of control, entrepreneurial attitudes, and entrepreneurial intentions. So as for the theoretical development, the first hypothesis will be the need for achievement has a positive impact on the entrepreneurial attitude. The second hypothesis will be the need for achievement has a positive impact on the entrepreneurial intention. The third hypothesis will be a risk perception positively influences entrepreneurial attitude. The fourth hypothesis will be risk perception positively influences entrepreneurial intention. The fifth hypothesis will be the locus of control has a positive impact on the entrepreneurial attitude. The sixth hypothesis will be the locus of control has a positive impact on the entrepreneurial intention. The seventh hypothesis will be entrepreneurial attitude positively influences entrepreneurial intention. The eighth hypothesis will be entrepreneurial attitude positively influences preparing for entrepreneurships. And the last hypothesis will be entrepreneurial intention positively influences preparing for entrepreneurship. So this is the theoretical framework for this article. As for the methodology, this study applied a cross-sectional survey with participant entrepreneurs in East Java, Indonesia. A total of 425 questionnaires were distributed online. Approximately 404 responses were applicable for further analysis. The 74% respondents of this study were female with the age between 18 to 25 years old and having working experience for about 1 to 5 years. Most respondents graduated from senior high school with the percentage of 57% and running their business in the home industry and coffee shop with 74% and 17% respectively. So as for the result and discussion, the first and second hypothesis confirm that there is a direct positive impact between the need for achievement toward entrepreneurial attitude and entrepreneurial intentions. The next findings are that risk perception positively influences attitudes toward entrepreneurial intentions. This study supports some prior studies by Padilla Melendez, 2014, and Vinod Kumar and Subramanian, 2016. This study also confirms that the locus of control can explain the young people's attitudes toward entrepreneurship and the intention to be entrepreneurs. This study results show that there is a correlation between entrepreneurial attitude, entrepreneurial intention, and preparing for entrepreneurship. The last hypothesis showed that a significant influence between entrepreneurial intention and preparing for entrepreneurship. So as for the conclusion, the findings show that the entrepreneurial attitude and entrepreneurial intention can be explained by the need for achievement, risk-taking, and locus of control. This study confirms a robust correlation between entrepreneurial attitude, entrepreneurial intention, and preparation for entrepreneurship. They need a more global mindset that makes them able to survive to run their business well. They need to participate in some business communities, both with beginners and those who have succeeded, will have an impact on the formation of young entrepreneurs' character. So that's all from me.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Noshada binti Abdullah. Okay, today I will present about the conceptual papers for article. Okay. Okay, this one for the first article, which is a culture intelligence, entrepreneurial intention, and the moderating role of the institutional environment. Okay, for the introduction, is a key contribution to continuous economic growth development by creating job, increase spending, facilitating knowledge transfer, and driving innovations. And then for these articles is a focus for a creative entrepreneurship in the context of a emerging economy. Okay, for the next slide is this one is a framework of this article. Okay, this one for the method. Okay, the method is this article is discussed about the culture. And then for entrepreneur intention and the moderating role of the institutional environment. Okay, and this is for the result is increase governmental awareness of the importance of the entrepreneurship ecosystem and innovation of for Kazakhstan. And then the particular approach to entrepreneurship was offered as relations, materials, and the process relates once to bring together the psychological and sociological. Okay, this one for the conclusion. Kazakhstan and similar country could knowledge and diversity and the multicultural of their population through creativity. Okay, this one is for the second article, which is the role of purchase value of entrepreneur identity in the growth motivation. Okay, we can see for the introduction, is motivate for entrepreneurship and business growth, motivation among a small business owner. Okay, this one for the theory, which is for the framework. We can see I have dependence moderator. For the moderator is a perceived value of entrepreneurship. For the IV is independence, is a opportunity. And then for the DV is a concrete planning. Okay, for the method, okay, 274 small business owner as a female, and then for the male only 123, and then for other for the 4 is other, and then so the participant has been business owner for 5.99 years. In all is 79.6 for the all total to reported by has reported that they had 2 or less employer in their firms. Okay, this is for the result. Okay, for the result, first is a better business performance. The second is for the future time, and they are planning to grow up. They are planning grow the intention, and then their future business. Okay, this one is for the conclusion. Okay, small business owner grow planning without a measure that control grow behavior. That running a small business is the only mean of the generating income when the one predominant. Okay, for the next article is a influence of gender institution on woman entry into entrepreneurship. Okay, for the introduction is entrepreneur behavior are outcome of individual attributes alone, and the entrepreneur identify across various contextual setting are ultimate. And then in order to understand individual entrepreneur behavior, effects of context must also be considered. Okay, we next to the theory. Okay, for the theory, we can see have a moderator, IV and DV. Okay, for the DV is entrepreneur behavior. Okay, for the moderator is individual attributes. And then for the IV is general in situations. Okay, this is for the method. Okay, for the method is a formal and informal framework shape and the activity and strategy adopted by entrepreneur. And then the importance of general in situation is a social culture factor on the woman entrepreneurship across nations. Okay, we can see the result is the current study provide additional support for the positive role that gender play is both social justice and economy. Okay, for the next is institutions of the economic participation and education is if a country wish to encourage entrepreneurial behavior as a part of the economic growth and strategy. Okay, this is for the conclusion. Using the sociological model of a general stratification research, that departs from the theory that explain women entrepreneurship by adopting as a general neutral approach. We generate hypothesis that collectively articulated how individual has a well constructual factor shape woman entrepreneurship behavior. Okay. Then we proceed to the last article, which is exploring entrepreneurial qualities for the stability of a family business in Pakistan. Okay, if we can see the introduction, the family business phenomena has been explored from a different perspective in a study. However, study of entrepreneurial quality for the family business as a remain underdeveloped in Pakistan. Okay, next is a theory. We can see for the framework as for the dependence is entrepreneurial qualities, and then for the IV have a motivation, leadership roles, and personality. Okay, this is for the method approach to explore how entrepreneurial quality lead to a family business subsidy. Okay, for the results, the most participant significant interest in the family business since they observe their parent if effort of subsidize for the business. And then for the second is the suggest the entrepreneur positive attitude towards conducting the business. Okay, last is for the conclusion. Okay, for the conclusion is the gap then highlight entrepreneur quality required the family business in Pakistan. And then based on the finding, have a 4 main quality required of the entrepreneur for the family business in Pakistan. And then for this one also help entrepreneur to make decision that are positive are relate with the family business, their family business. Yeah, thank you.
Greeting and salutation. Good evening to our beloved Madam Nurhana. My name is Nurnada Shamiza binti Al-Kamal Hisham. So today I'm going to present about my 4 mini article research, and this is my first slide. So for the first article is the impact of SME internalization on innovation, which is the mediating role of market and entrepreneurial orientation. So this is my abstract, which is small and medium-sized enterprises, which is SME, need to make product and process innovation in order to outperform the competition and satisfaction global customers. Not just that, investigating the success factors of innovation performance has become critical for the survival and competitiveness of SME. The aim of this study is to explore the impact of the degree of internalization, which is DOL in the short form, on innovation performance through the mediating factor of market and entrepreneurial orientation in the context of emerging market SME. We tested our model and hypothesis with 235 SMEs in the United Arab Emirates, which is an emerging market, and the results obtained from particle least squares estimates indicate that the degree of internalization positively affects innovation performance, and more importantly, that this relationship is indirect and fully mediated by market and entrepreneurial orientation for SME. This is the result that shield on the mechanism of the effect of DOL on innovation performance in emerging market SME contexts. Let's move on to the next slide. So for the orientation, the aim of the study is to fill this gap by looking at an understudied area and investigated the relationship between internalization and also innovation performance of the contact emerging and also the market SME. And also this study contributes to the literature in several important aspects. The first one is different from the pure literature, and then it is also linked between internalization and being market, and entrepreneurial orientation is the learning effect. Move on to the next. This is my framework, which is the first one is DOL, as I explained on the previous slide, and then the moderator become the MO and also EO, and the DV is innovation. So move on to the hypothesis. For this article, I have 4 hypotheses, which is the first one is the degree of internalization has a direct effect on SME innovation. The second one is the degree of internalization is positively related to market orientation of SME. And the third one is the degree of internalization is positively related to entrepreneurial orientation for SME, which is the impact of MO on innovation performance. And the last one is market orientation is positively related to innovation performance for SME. So for the methodology, they use to collect data, which is a questionnaire was developed based on the extensive literature review. And then the survey instrument comprised 34 items, which is they doing a 6 owner and manager of SME located in Abu Dhabi, Emirate. So for the result and also discussion, the study confirmed that the internalization of SME has a significant positive impact on innovation performance through mediating effect of MO and also EO. This result is consistent with a recent study by Piperopoulos, WU and Wang on 2018, showing that internalization activities by emerging market firms enhance their subsidiaries organization learning in innovation performance. So for the conclusion for this article is, it investigated an understudied phenomena and proposed a new model that provides a better understanding of the link between internalization and innovation for emerging market SME. Overall, internationalization has a positive effect on innovation performance. So this study demonstrates that this effect is indirect through MO and EO. Therefore, for internalization, SME, MO, and EO are two basic pillars of obtaining better innovation performance. So let's move on for the second article, which is the role of international networking to mediate internet technology capabilities and international entrepreneurship orientation to export performance. So for the abstract, the studies is to the role of internal network in mediating the effect of internet technology capabilities and international entrepreneurship orientation on export performance. So for the introduction, the COVID-19 pandemic over the past 2 years back then in 2020 has had a negative impact on companies' performance achievement. As we all know, not just in this research, which is in the Bali province, but also in other country as well. But this research focusing on SME in Bali province. So move on to the next slide, which is theoretical development, which is the framework. So this is the framework, which is internet technology capabilities, international entrepreneurship orientation, international networking. These three is the IV for this article, and the DV is export performance. So in this article, they have 7 hypotheses, which is the first one is internet technology capabilities, a positive significant impact performance. Second one is internet technology capabilities have a positive and significant impact on international networking. International entrepreneurship orientation has a positive and significant impact on export performance. Next one is international entrepreneurship orientation has a positive and significant impact on international networking. International networking has a positive and significant impact on export performance. The sixth one is international businesses network are able to significantly mediate the effect of internet technology capabilities on export performance. And the last one is international business network can significantly mediate the effect of international entrepreneurship orientation on export performance. So for the methodology, is this research will be conducted on the SME creative industry export in Bali. And then the studies use 17 indicators so that the sample size is determined based on the formula, which is multiple by 10, which means the sample size is 170. So the result and discussion based on the result of the analysis of the effect of internet technology capabilities on the export performance, the beta classification values is 0.211 with a significance level of 0.003, which is lower than 0.05, which means HO is rejected and H1 is accepted. So for the conclusion for the article, it can be concluded that the higher internet technology capabilities and international entrepreneurship orientation, the higher the export performance of the creative industry SME in Bali. So move on for the next article, which is the third article. Does entrepreneurial activities matter for economic growth in development countries? And also the role of the institutional environment. So for the abstract, the discussion on which institution determine entrepreneurial activities and the role of institution and the aggregate output for development countries is as yet unresolved. So for the introduction, conducting analysis of these 5 environmental factors, is it impossible to understand how different institutional setting facilities or hamper entrepreneurial activity in development countries, which is by embracing the analysis of institution. So this is the framework for this article. Government procedures, social and economic factor, entrepreneurial and business skills, financial assistance, and non-financial assistance. So for the moderator, it is opportunity-driven entrepreneurship, and for the DV is economic growth. So for the hypothesis, this article has 6 hypotheses, which is the first one, the number of procedures for starting a business has a negative influence on entrepreneurial activity in development country. A more valuable human development context has a positive effect on entrepreneurial activity in development country. The third one is opportunity recognition has a positive influence on entrepreneurial activity in development country. The fourth one is access to bank credit has a positive influence on entrepreneurial activity in development countries. The fifth one is access to communication has a positive influence on entrepreneurial activity in development countries. And the last one is opportunity TEA has a positive effect on economic growth in development country. So for the methodology, the sample size has 78 observation for 14 development country with a regular time series from 2014 and also until 2012. And then this match variable with the entire sample using information from 2015 until 2013. So the result in discussion, this research generate two key results, which is the first one, there's evidence of the relationship between institutional environment and entrepreneurship. And then the second one is two separate strands for entrepreneurship research. But it is possible to argue that the casual change going from intentional to entrepreneurship and economic growth is an important tool to discuss public policies, especially in developing country. So for the conclusion, the objective presented in this paper by exploring and including additional institution factors into the entrepreneurship equation. So for the fourth article, I'm going to present about contextual factors and strategic consequences of cloud enterprise resource planning ERP adoption in Malaysia, manufacturing SME, a conceptual framework. So for the first one is abstract. The purpose of this study is to holistically investigate the interrelationship between key contextual factor of cloud ERP adoption and the strategic consequences of such adoption. So for the introduction, the present rapid economic development poses a threat to firms, and in order to survive the ravaging competition triggered by the swift economic progression. So this is my framework, which is technology, organization, environment, and then the moderator will be cloud ERP adoption, competitive advantage, and the last one, the DV, is organizational performance. So for the hypothesis, this article has 9 hypotheses, which is features task match positively influence cloud ERP adoption. Top management support on change management positively influence cloud ERP adoption. GFS positively influence cloud ERP adoption. GFS moderates the relationship between TMSCM and cloud ERP adoption. GFS moderates the relationship between FTM and cloud ERP adoption. Cloud ERP adoption positively influence competitive advantage. Cloud ERP adoption positively influence organizational performance. Competitive advantage positively influence organizational performance. And the last one, competitive advantage mediates the relationship between cloud ERP adoption and organizational performance. So for the result and discussion, this research has the potential to help SME managers in manufacturing sector to avoid one size fits all of cloud ERP and OPT for the one that align with their tasks. So for the conclusion, this study seeks to investigate key factors of cloud ERP adoption and how they subsequently influence CA and firm performance simultaneously and indirect. It also has some limitation. Factors included as antecedents to cloud ERP are not exhaustive. Future studies may consider examining more novel key factors. The study criticized prior studies for not differentiating between GFS and government non-financial support in IT adoption, yet only GFS is focused to prove its impact on cloud ERP adoption. So that's all from me. Thank you so much for your time viewing our video and also our article. Thank you, madam.
My name is Nur Kamarina binti Abdul Manaf, and today I will be presenting about 4 article, which is the next. I will present about the 4 article proposal. Right. First for the abstract, for based on the study for this article, entrepreneurship education can be unconventional talents and skill directly influence to all the students based on the personality and increase their student intention to start viable and sustainable business enterprise. Entrepreneurship has found its way in the Malaysian university since the mid-90s, and also Malaysian government has made the entrepreneurship course as a compulsory for all the students in the public university to the foster entrepreneur skill in youth since they are graduate. Cannot be entirely absorbed in a formal salary wages employment. For the introduction for this topic, the topic was named as the effect of student entrepreneur characteristic on their propensity to become entrepreneur in Malaysia. For the introduction, the first one will be the government has made their entrepreneurship course compulsory for all the students in the university. As the economic value of the supporting the development and of entrepreneurship by the Malaysian government is to be they have to be real and create something new as a sustainable investment to themselves and also in the country. And this was taken by from Ahmad and Bushanan 2050 and Yusuf 2050. The next will be their framework. Uh, for their dependent variable will be the entrepreneur intention. Then their IV will be the need for achievement, locus of control, propensity to the risk, self-confidence, tolerance, and also leadership skills. And based on their theory, that is taken from Max Schliemann theory, is a strong psychology driving force behind the human action and has been proposed for a long time for their factor influence in entrepreneur's intention. From this theory also has been assumed that the people will have high high standard of achievement that could make their become a stronger desire to be a successful and result are more likely become entrepreneur. This taken from Co 1996. For the hypothesis, was showed that two hypotheses was supported. There is first one, student entrepreneurial characteristic have positive significant effect on intention to become entrepreneur. And second one will be the relationship between entrepreneur characteristic and entrepreneur intention are mediated by innovativeness. Okay, for their method was investigate by entrepreneur characteristic intention in Malaysian student. This was taken from their question is they using 5 scale if I'm not mistaken, and was taken from the student in any university to get their what we call questionnaire from there. The result from this article is the study investigate the effect of student entrepreneur characteristic on their propensity to become an entrepreneur in Malaysia. It also the relationship between the entrepreneur characteristic, which comprise of 6 main dimensions, and entrepreneur intention of students who have participated in entrepreneur education in Malaysia. The next one will be the conclusion for first article, which is the result shows that all the entrepreneur characteristics included in this study are relative important since their value are above 80%, and their result was finding from Gurul at and Atsan in 2006, where their achievement, locus of control, taking risk, prosperity, and innovatives are found a bit higher for entrepreneur inclined student than other students. Next will be the abstract for second article. Okay, based on the study, entrepreneur education could be nurtured. I'm sorry, I'm not updated yet for this. We go to next. Okay. I'm sorry. Wait. Tak betulkan ke? Alright, from the article 2, there will be the abstract. The first one will be the estimate to achieve the competitive advantage regarding the turnover, customer attraction, and market share. From this article also, investigate the standpoint of the small and medium size of the business under the influence of external pressure, entrepreneurial activities within business dynamic. There are 300 herbal based on SME were surveyed using the structure questionnaire. The data were analyzed using descriptive, statistic, exploratory, and confirmatory factor analysis and structural equation model. Okay, next will be about the introduction. That was the topic was external pressure influence on entrepreneurship performance of SME study of Malaysian herbal industry. From this, the firm of all the size face this dilemma, making the small and medium enterprise they're more to vulnerable to external economic shock as compared to large organization in this competitive sustainability-oriented business environment that result from their failure. Despite from this business experience and financial resources, the SMEs face the similar challenge also based on trying to maintain their meaningful balance, profit environment, and social costs. These are more to innovative enough to grow and manage their company successfully. Next will be the framework. As Madam can see, this will be the DV was the performance. IV external pressure, mediator, strategic sustainability orientation, sustainability entrepreneurship practice. From their this theory, there are based from firm theory from the basic of SEP and performance. That is from Bani 1991. There are classical economy that have been approached to their economic focusing on determining from a goods output and also income distribution from the other market through their supply and demand fit. All right. The next one will be the hypothesis that as Madagascar, they have all the hypotheses are supported, and their method can be found on their method are for they are only focusing on herbal based on SME leader and also the manager itself. And this study include 530 SME listed under NPRA. After selection SME, the researchers visited NPRA office that they got the link from some managers or owner itself from the firm that develop of mailing list of contact based on an NPRA 2050 directory. The result shows from this result shows high level of general SAP awareness, its ability to enhance business conduct performance among the respondent, and it was indicated by 57.2 and 87.2% from the Herbert based on SME itself. Okay. For the conclusion, all the four hypotheses proposed were supported, confirming from SME with a combination from EP and SSO would be more likely to achieve favorable economic, environmental, and social performance due their higher SAP in their industry itself. The result also show how firm align their strategy and external environmental factor by developing SSO. This finding also concern about the other scholar, which is as we can see who state that entrepreneur who have acknowledged from the fact from this have a positive approach towards sustainability and also collective benefit are likely to a long-term performance, as we can see through their market dynamic and offer an advanced proper solution to environment challenge. Next will be talk about the abstract for Article 3. This paper are highlight on their key area that is from Ivy Research, including but they are not limited to broadening the scope and investigate. They are other integrated new theory and also method suit to examine such alliance in the international business field. The topic was taken from International Vertical Alliance within the international business field, a systematic literature review and future research agenda. From the introduction was growing concerns in the literature that firm involvement, strategic alliance, and network matter for knowledge acquisition, innovative development, and expansion into international market. This was taken from Duet 2020, Joachim 2019, and Lindstrand 2009. Over the year they're making, the strategy alliance literature has been broadened significantly and has demonstrated that alliance with different partner type play different role. From the firm resources and also capability itself. Okay. This is all the framework that is. DV was relation, relational, strategic, firm, and international outcome. And for the DV was firm, relational, environmental, and antecedents. And moderator, as Madam can see, firm, relational, and environmental moderator. And lastly, mediator is governance, knowledge exchange. From their theory, Westerling theory is one of the pillars theory that understand about the financial management. Uh, when it comes to the general, the signal is interpreted as a signal made by company itself, as Madam can see, and or no, the risk manager, and the outside party was the investor. Okay. There are three hypotheses that show all from the article was supported. For their method, their increasing research interest in IV, little effort has been made to conduct methodical and systematic review and existing studies on topic about IB international business field. This method also took systematic approach to define a specific methodology that located existing study and evaluate contribution, analyze synthesis data, report evidence such as allow reasonable, clear conclusion, and reach about what they not know. This article also conduct about three review that is three step. The first one is planning, conducting, and also analyzing. As for the result, finding of the IV literature into the multi-dimension comprehensive framework that include antecedents, mediator, moderator, outcomes, and control, providing coherence, summary of finding, and serves as guide for researchers and practicals. For the conclusion, the finding from this research will have been suggest that effect of social norm could be different, tested to different setting. Also, it can demonstrate of manufacture in SME in Malaysia, at least context of the study does not perceive social norm as crucial and in the operation. Okay, we move on to the next slide, which is last article. The abstract is about the study present the business capability model that connect strategic orientation, business capability, government support, and international performance in emerging markets. They're likely to focus about the impact of entrepreneur and also orientation, market, learning, networking, that business capability and effect of international performance itself. Okay, for this topic, was taken from entrepreneur market learning and networking orientation determine of business capability and international performance to contingent role of government support. I'm sorry, we move to the next slide. Okay, as manifested, the framework was taken. DV was financial performance that is from H1 until H4. IV their entrepreneur orientation. Wait, entrepreneur orientation. Sorry. IV was taken H1 until H4. DV was taken from financial performance, which is H5 until H9. And then the moderator was taken from digital, MIL, PD, PR, and marketing. And their mediator was taken from business capability, government support, info train, trade, and fin. That is hypothesis 10 until hypothesis 14. Okay. For the theory is inter SME global theory that government support literature by putting the key in the concept research model, the model that provide the evidence for the relationship and relative comparison. Okay, there are 14 hypotheses in this article, and all in this article was supported. For their method, they are using 5-point scale. Third variable were added born based on the number employee and industry based on dummy that variable from 1 for manufacturing, 0 for service, 2 for others. Expert advice was as a pretest were performed to finalize questionnaire distribution. This total valid 251 response that received out of 1,000 questionnaires sent among the SME born global were identified as used as controversial and test the model. From the result and PLS and SAEM analysis was carried out by running a algorithm include a bootstrapping also and blindfold technique using smart PLS software that reliability and validity of the first order and second order measurement models were assessed before hypothesis. This table also shows that validity, internal consistency, all construct established according to the rules thumb suggested by Hare Jr. in 2016, which International Entrepreneurship Management Journal 13 composite reliability should have should be above 0.770 and average variance extract should be above 0.50. As the conclusion, this study also suggests diverse strategic orientation and business capability are two critical success factors in achieve SME international performance. This model also can contribute the government support and also based on their funding, the government support could enhance the business capability of SME in terms of their intensity, internalization, as well as financial and strategic performance international markets. That's all from me. Thank you, madam.
A very good day to Madam Norhana and my fellow colleagues. My name is Ryan Adamin Abdullah, and I'll be presenting on the 4 articles in which I have been summarized in. So the 4 articles include supply chain network structures and firm financial performance. The second article, risk interaction identification in international supply chain logistics. The third article, risk management of manufacturing multinational corporations. And the fourth article, empirical study on improving international driver competitiveness based on logistics supply chain integration. For the first article, basically the first article examines the relationship between supply chain network structures and firm financial performance and the moderating role of international relations. And the extracted data from 2 Chinese databases and constructed a supply chain network of the firm concerned based on nearly 4,300 supply chain relations between 2009 and 2018. The economic metrics result indicate that network structures, including degree, centrality, clustering, coefficients, and structural holes, are significantly related to firm financial performance. This study, which collects secondary data from developing countries, for example, China, and explores the impact of supply chain network structures on firm stock performance. As for the theoretical development and hypothesis, there are three independent variables, which include centrality, clustering coefficients, as well as structural holes, whereas for the mediating variable is the international relations, and the dependent variable is the firm stock performance. So the first hypothesis 1A, the centrality measures of a firm in the supply chain network has a positive effect on the firm's stock performance, whereas the second hypothesis 1, basically has vice versa, which includes a negative effect. So for the second hypothesis, the clustering coefficients of a firm in a supply chain network has a positive effect on the firm's stock performance. The third hypothesis, the value of a firm's structural holes in a supply chain network has a positive effect on the firm's stock performance. As for the fourth hypothesis, there are 2 instances whereby the international relationship of a firm have a positive effect on the firm's stock performance. As for the second hypothesis, in hypothesis 4, is that it has a negative effect on the firm's stock performance. As for the fifth hypothesis, the international relations of a firm significantly weaken the relationship between supply chain network and structural and firm stock performance. To discuss on the first article itself and to conclude, the present study constructed the supply chain network based on secondary data from China and explored the impact of centrality, clustering coefficients, and structural holes. And in particular, this study discusses the potential varying impact of centrality measures. This current study also breaks new grounds whereby, for example, in contrast to prior studies on international relations which have generally been limited to developed economies, the present study focuses on the effect of international relations on the emerging market of China. Nor did the researchers examines the different effect of centrality measures, which may focus on the different aspects of network centrality, and accordingly, the different role of centrality measures can be a potential topic for future study, whereby industry differences might also represent another potential research direction. Finally, the conjecture of that supply chain network structures may relate to firm financial performance. Therefore, future research could explore this mechanism by investigating its mediating effects. As for the second article, to summarize this article specifically investigates the interaction between international logistics within the prevailing structure of international supply chain and highlight how these risks may be interconnected and amplified. This applies interpretive structural modeling to data collected from a survey of leading supply chain practitioners in order to analyze their perspective of risk elements and interactions. A key findings of this research is that supply chain practitioners' perceptions of risk consist of interconnected 4 levels: value stream risk, information and relationship risks, risk in the international supply chain activities, and external environment. Several managerial implications are drawn whereby the research guides managers in the identification and evaluation of risk events which can impact the performance of their international logistics supply chain operations. Evidence is presented that supports the proposition that the relationship with trading partners and LSPs and the degree of logistic information exchange are critical to prevent or at least mitigate logistic risks which can substantially affect the responsiveness of the international supply chain. The risk demonstrates the importance of taking into account risk interactions in the process of identification and evaluation of risk events. In the theoretical development of this article itself, SCRM researchers have established classifications commonly based on organizational boundaries, which consist of internal risk, supply chain risk, as well as external risks. And according to Mason, Jones, and Thole in 1998, they argue that the cause of uncertainty are to be found on the supply side, in manufacturing processes on the demand side, and most notably in control systems that overarch the other 3 areas. Another method of classification categorizes that type of loss, the type of loss that supply chain risk can cause. And this paper uses ISM to develop a dynamic supply chain logistic risk analysis model in order to better understand both risks and their interactions. And in particular, the research focuses on the root cause of risk amplification within the risk structures that may jeopardize supply chain operations. So to discuss and to conclude this article, ISM generally involves interpretation of a complex system of 3 stages: selection of elements, their contextual relationships, and the discussion of the proposed model. And this research adopted as robust a method for this interpretation as possible using focus groups and panel discussion. The identified risk interactions could be assessed by applying or methods to measure the impact of the sequential and parallel paths of risk in order to guide decision and making on the degree of priority of each risk path and their main root causes. The model can be extended to cover specific chain risk mitigation strategies which can be applied to respond to risk event on occurring within each of the 4 levels, incorporating risk mitigation strategies derived from previous studies highlighted and discussed from the above studies. And the risk assessment techniques developed in this research can be used to prioritize risk based on their estimated likelihood and impact. Such an assessment can be incorporated risk interactions so that risk evaluation becomes more holistic and more dynamic. As for the third article, to summarize on this article, basically this article investigates the contingency of supply chain risk SCRM in manufacturing multinational corporations by exploring the moderating role of international asset dispersion in the performance effect of SCRM, as well as the counteraction effect on supply chain integration. Multi-country survey data from a sample of 378 respondents collected by the 6th round International Manufacturing Strategy Survey were analyzed, and the results demonstrate that SCRM improves that operational effectiveness of manufacturing MNCs, but this performance effect is attenuated by international asset dispersion. And the result of this study provides suggestion for supply chain managers of manufacturing MNCs to better conduct SRM practices under the condition of dispersed international assets. Besides that, supply chain managers can leverage external integration to ensure the efficacy of SRM practices. And this study sheds light on the SRM operational performance relationship by considering how a manufacturing MNC's international asset dispersion can influence the efficacy of SRM practices and how SCI can attenuate the negative effect of international asset dispersion. So this is the conceptual framework. Next is the hypothesis. Basically, the hypothesis revolves around two, which includes operational effectiveness, operational efficiency, which basically bounces between the first possible hypothesis and the second possible hypothesis. Okay, so the first positive hypothesis, SRM practices are positive associated with manufacturing firm's operational effectiveness or operational efficiency. Whereas for the second hypothesis, the broader the IED, the weaker the efficacy of SRM practices and the manufacturing MNC's operational effectiveness or operational efficiency. As for the third hypothesis, the negative moderating effect of IED on the relationship between SRM practices and operational effectiveness or operational efficacy. The fourth hypothesis, the negative moderating effect of IED on the relationship between SRM practices and operational effectiveness or operational efficiency will be weakened as MNRI increases. For the fifth hypothesis, the negative moderating effect on IED on the relationship between SRM practices and operational effectiveness or the operational efficiency will be weakened as EI increase. As to discuss for this article, this study extends the supply chain risk management research by examining the moderating effect of IED and three types of SCI and the efficacy of SRM practices. And the results confirm that SRM practices are beneficial to firms' operational effectiveness. And the results also suggest that although IED negatively moderates the effect of between SRM practices and operational effectiveness, manufacturing MNCs can leverage EI to mitigate the attenuating effect of IED. This study uses cross-sectional survey data, which means that SRM practices IED, three types of SCI and operational performance were measured in the same time period, and it lacks enough evidence to determine the causal effect in the proposed hypothesis. And future research may conduct longitudinal studies to further investigate this relationship. And this study uses a categorical variable to measure IED as a specific number of measures that a manufacturing MNC operates is not available. Future research can adopt more precise measurement of IED. And this study considers SCRM practices as an undimensional construct and ignores its detailed aspects. Future research can further investigate the performance effects of individual dimensions of SCRM practices. And for example, supply side and customer side SCRM practices and proactive and reactive SRM practices. As for the last article, to summarize this article, empirically examines the relationship among dry port logistics supply chain integration, its operational performance, and dry port competitiveness in the context of China. The authors developed a structured questionnaire based on the supply chain integration theory and resource-based view and collected data from the dry port operation enterprises and their stakeholders in Central and Western China. The result demonstrates that DPL-SCI has a positive effect on logistic cost performance and service quality performance, which further improves DPC. Meanwhile, OP is a pull mediator between DPL-SCI and DPC. This provides guidelines for dry port operators and their stakeholders to integrate supply chain resources and develop the OP for improving the overall competitiveness of an international dry port. The government could also invest in physical infrastructures and system platform to strengthen the OP of a dry port and further enhance its competitiveness. The author also emphasizes that the international dry port is a proactive and integrated system in providing a supply chain logistics service. Basically, this is the conceptual framework, and there are 7 hypotheses, which includes dry port logistics supply chain integration has a positive effect on the logistic cost performance. Dry port logistic supply chain integration has a positive effect on the service quality performance. Dry port logistic supply chain integration has a positive effect on dry port competitiveness. Logistic cost performance has a positive effect on international dry port competitiveness. Service quality performance has a positive effect on international dry port competitiveness. Logistic cost performance plays a mediating effect between DPL-SCI and DPC, and service quality performance plays a mediating effect between DPL-SCI and DPC. To discuss and to conclude on this article, this study examines the mechanism by which government and dry port operators can improve the competitiveness of an international dry port by enhancing DPLCI and OP. And overall, the result not only shed light on the direct effect of DPLCI and OP, DPC, but also highlight the indirect effect of DPLCI on firms' competitiveness through OP. The data collection was restricted to dry port operators and their stakeholders in Central and Western China, and a different sample of data could be employed from other areas or counties to verify the findings. The study also only examines the impact of oral SCI and OP and competitiveness, while the relationship between internal integration, external integration, and logistic and on performance and competitiveness is also worth to discuss. The study of DPC is limited, and some determinants of DPC could be considered in the future study. The hard components including infrastructures, equipment, geographical locations, and inland logistic platforms. The soft components include supply services, interfirms ties, safety, and security. Both components are gaining momentum in their customer port evaluation process, and this study considered SCRM practices as unidimensional, construct and ignores as detailed aspects, and future studies can further investigate the performance effects of individual dimension of SCRM practices. Hence, thank you.